In what state did the first Tea Party take place?
Virginia!
No! Massachusetts, right? Massachusetts. In what state is the next Tea Party going to take place? On Tuesday. That's right. That's right. We're going to send a message all across America. We've already done it here in Virginia, but in the most unlikely place in America. You know, John Kerry recently said about the campaign for the United States Senate to replace Ted Kennedy between the Attorney General of Massachusetts and Scott Brown, a state senator that none of you had ever heard of before this past week. John Kerry said that people are coming in from all across the country to try to influence what happens in Massachusetts. And that they're trying to have a Tea Party in Massachusetts. Duh. Where was the first Tea Party? Boston, Massachusetts. Where's the next Tea Party going to be? Boston. You bet. People are turning out all across Massachusetts on Tuesday, I can tell you. Tim Phillips, who didn't mention that he was my first campaign manager, did a great job. My first chief of staff for 4.5 years, and a great political consultant who did a great job helping this great ticket get elected this year in Virginia. Tim Phillips always advised me not to emphasize where I was born. You know where that was? Massachusetts. In my first campaign, my opponent said that he'd lived in Virginia all of his life and he had to be born here in order to understand the values of the people of Virginia. I said, Steve, I grew up in Massachusetts. I know what it's like to live under the liberal Democrats who've dominated the United States Congress for the last 40 years, and I got down here as quick as I could. So I've been calling relatives and friends and emailing them to find out what they're doing in this election. And let me tell you, what was started here in Virginia this year with this great election and now the inauguration of a great governor of Virginia is going to sweep across the country starting next week in Massachusetts, of all places. One of the people I got in touch with told me that she had talked to somebody else, and she said that that person had been a registered Democrat all her life, and she loved Scott Brown, but she didn't think she could vote for him because she was a registered Democrat. That tells you how far we have come and how much further we have to go in a state like Massachusetts, where no Democrat for the Senate or the House of Representatives has lost an election in a quarter of a century. So this is something that is happening all across America when you see it happening in Massachusetts, where Scott Brown, in all of the most recent polls, is ahead. Now, will he win on Tuesday? I don't know, but here's what I want you to do. If you believe in the fight of Americans for prosperity to stop this government takeover of our health care, or to raise the price of energy as a solution to the global warming problem with this ridiculous cap-and-trade legislation, or if you believe, as the leaders of Americans for Prosperity, and I know so many of you do as well, that it is a violation of your basic civil liberties to take away from you the right to have a secret ballot when you choose whether or not you want to have a labor union at your place of employment. If you believe in those things, the best thing you can do today and tomorrow and Monday is to contact any friends, any relatives, any business associates that you have in Massachusetts. If you're on Facebook, put that up on your Facebook page. Tell all your friends to contact anybody in Massachusetts you know. Tell them the nation is watching, they're cheering them on, and we want to see Scott Brown come to Washington, D.C. and help us kill this health care bill. I want to thank Americans for Prosperity. We need you. We need an organization like this to carry that message to every city and every town and by every means. Whether it is writing letters to the editor, or getting on Facebook, or tweeting, or whatever it is that's your thing, spread the word that the American people are alive and listening and paying attention to what's going on in Washington, and we're going to stop it. We're going to stop it next year. That's what this is all about. And we have the ability to do it. Will we be able to stop this health care bill? You know, the President of the United States, in his campaign the year before last, said, when we do health care, we're going to invite C-SPAN in. We're going to put it on C-SPAN when we have the negotiations. So you can see whether your representatives and your senators are protecting you or looking out for the special interests. Now they've cut a deal with most of those special interests to try to get this health care monstrosity passed. And C-SPAN, Brian Lamb, the head of C-SPAN, sent a letter to the Congress and said, hey, the President said we should have C-SPAN in the room. And here we are. We're ready to be in the room to televise these negotiations. Will you let us in? No. No siree. I'll tell you what, the American people are watching anyway. They know what's going on in those back rooms. And if we don't stop it, because they insist on doing what the people in poll after poll after poll and in phone call and email and so on to their senators and representatives have said, they don't want this health care bill. If they don't do it, we're going to continue to fight, right? The next place we're going to fight is in the courts, because this bill is unconstitutional. It takes away your civil liberties. It takes away your right to decide whether or not you want to have health insurance, and if you want to have health insurance, what health insurance you want to buy. So we'll fight it there. And if we don't succeed there, we're going to fight, right? We're going to fight these elections this next year. We're going to win seat after seat after seat in the House and the Senate as we take back our government. And then, if we don't get enough seats, we're going to stop? No, we're going to continue to fight. In 2012, and what happens in 2012? There's another election for President of the United States. And we're going to elect a president who believes in limited government, in free enterprise, in individual responsibility, in lower taxes and less government regulation, and most importantly of all, and I will tell you this for sure, most importantly of all, cut government spending.